I don't know if I can use any of this for the intro and outro.
The
That's
political
fine.
bullshit?
Yeah, I absolutely can't.
You can talk about games.
Forget it.
Hey, welcome to episode 95 of Front Seat Gamer. I'm Nick. I'm here with Blake.
Hey.
And Saveun.
Yo.
How's it going, guys?
Good.
Good.
It's going well.
Good. That nodding comes across
Yeah,
very
I know.
well.
I've got to stop nodding.
Yeah. So as always, we start off episodes by talking about what we've been playing. Last week we started by talking about what we've been playing. We went around, everyone talked about what they've been playing, and then we went into detail. I thought that worked well.
This is your new format.
It's my new format.
Yep. You invented that on the fly as well, right?
I did. So I've just been playing a lot of mobile games.
Oh my god.
Mostly idle games. There's
Yep.
one called Idle Zen. I think I talked about it last time, which uses ball physics.
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of cool. There's a Always Sunny in Philadelphia idle game I've
Whoa.
been playing as of last night. And there's a couple others.
What do you do in the It's Always Sunny game?
You help them set up their schemes.
Huh.
And it's divided. It's interesting. So, we can talk about it in more detail. That's pretty much
Yeah.
all I've been playing. Nothing. Also Pokemon. We beat Pokemon,
Oh right.
uh,
That's cool.
which was fun.
You kept doing the
The
Was it?
Nuzlocke run.
the Nuzlocke
yeah,
run. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we. Did I tell you about the Dragonite thing?
Don't think so.
Oh man,
What was
so,
its name?
His name was Julio. So several O's at the end. I don't remember why we called him Julio, but we did. It was a Dragonair. We spent ages leveling him up. It levels up at level 55, which is like the highest of all Pokemon, basically. And then, so I was like finally super stoked that we'd finally leveled up the super strong Pokemon. You get into a fight. We're fighting a Rhydon. I'm like, sweet. Finally, we get to test out the power of this badass Dragonite. And Rhydon uses Ice Punch and kills it.
Whoa.
One hit. I was
We like
very
Julio,
sad.
Julio, no.
Yes. Julio. It was very sad. We were very sad.
Oh,
Heartbroken
man.
even.
I love
Mhm.
it.
And we literally had spent, I think I don't know, we spent 3 or 4 gyms leveling him up. Like,
Yep.
Always keeping him in the front of the party, trying
Yeah.
to just get him to.
And that was just because it was the type that was the type that was strongest against him or something.
Ice Punch deals quad damage to.
Oh.
Like ice moves deal quad damage
Yeah.
to dragon flying types. So
Ouch.
it was very, very sad.
What a bummer.
Yep. But we still beat it.
Yep.
What about you guys? What have you been playing?
I have played a little bit more of Stonehearth.
You said nothing about this last.
Yeah, I
last
never got
time.
around to talking about it last time.
Still good?
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
The name Stonehearth. Why did they go with that?
Because you have a stone hearth.
I mean, there's no way that people aren't going to be confused about that
I know.
name.
I'm surprised that
It's-
they never
it's so
changed
like-
the name.
They're like, what should we call the game? Stonehearth. Should we
Hearth-
Google and make sure that's fine? Nah.
Hearthstone had absolutely, because this was a Kickstarter game, I think, and Hearthstone had absolutely come
course.
out.
That was 2012 that Hearthstone came out. Oh, no.
I'm pretty sure it must have.
2013. Yeah,
whatever.
2013 was
But
when
this,
the beta
this had this had a long early access life. So they absolutely had plenty of time to change that name if they wanted to.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that in a little bit more
Yeah.
detail. Anything else?
I played. I played the Anthem demo, and I have some opinions about it. But because
We'll get into
Anthem
that.
has already come out, they're probably completely
Well,
pointless.
We'll get into that briefly then.
Yeah, yeah.
Saveun?
And
Oh,
what
sorry.
else? What else? Played a bit of Ashen, and I started playing Hollow Knight just this morning.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, Ashen. I started a new game in Ashen.
A new game.
Yep, and it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not dying. Like,
Wait, did you start again?
Yeah, from the start.
But was it like a class choice or something?
No,
They
no,
did the Dark
it
Souls
was
thing where you-
there's no classes.
it was a
Okay.
thing of like so you talked about getting that flask
Yeah.
from the game.
Yeah, from the mustache man.
Yeah, from your buddy.
Yep.
So I had half completed that quest, but
Yeah.
never cashed on the flask,
Ah,
and so I just ran into the first boss fight
yeah. Oh,
without without this flask.
with those little like what are they?
Yeah.
Fruit that only give you a little bit of life.
Yeah, yeah.
You got to eat like 5 of them to
With
get.
those, but the thing is, I had mistakenly eaten all of those fruit things, so I actually had just 1 bar of health
Yeah.
going into the
Oh,
first
man.
boss fight.
That first boss fight's pretty tough.
Yeah,
There's that one in the ruin when it's like a shadow thing, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You get a mask from it.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, I started a new game, beat him.
Yep.
And I was real proud of
Nice.
myself. So yeah, things are going good with that.
Did you suddenly be like, I get it. I get why people like this game.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. That first playthrough was like, I think enough for me to sort of learn the ropes a little bit.
Yeah.
And then that second playthrough was good because I started doing more exploring.
Right. How come you started all over again instead
Yeah.
of just continuing on from what you had?
It was so ruined, dude. I didn't even know that after you get that guy's flask, that there were merchants around your town that can sell you stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
There's merchants also just like those people. They're just out in the wilderness as well that you can just find. them.
Right.
So how come you didn't just go back?
I don't know.
How
I
c-
think
I'm
I had
so-
like a quest marker active, and I just followed that, and that led me to the first.
Yeah,
boss
No,
fight.
no, no. I mean,
Yeah, because when you get like multiple quests,
You can activate
You can
a different
activate them. Yeah, but if you just had the one on like the main whatever quest,
Yeah.
you would have just been going on that.
And so I thought that was what I
Yeah.
had to pursue at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
but-
didn't know you could like switch them up.
Yeah.
I meant like, why didn't you, upon learning about the flask thing,
Hmm.
just
Go back and
Continue.
log in, turn around,
yeah.
go back to wherever it was?
I
Why did you
thought-
start again?
Well, I'd consumed a lot of resources that first time round as well. Those resources you don't get back.
Okay.
Like the fruit. As soon
Yeah.
as a guy drops it, or I think as soon as you pick it up, it's just not there in the world
Mm.
again. Yeah. So,
So it was just a matter of you
I'd
felt like
nerfed-
you'd wasted
I
too much stuff.
I nerfed that first playthrough so much.
Okay.
Oh, and Apex. I've been playing some
Apex
some Battle
Legends?
Royale. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about that. So I keep seeing posts about it on Reddit. I
Mhm.
keep seeing big numbers, 25 million players.
What I
Slow
really
down.
like about that game is it just dropped.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah,
No build up
I
to
had
it.
not heard of it,
Mhm.
and then suddenly
So
people were talking about it.
somebody Seth at work, I think.
Yep.
He was telling me a theory he had about that.
Okay.
Was that games these days, if they have a long build up,
Yeah.
allows people to build up expectations
Right.
and build up like an already hate campaign against them.
Yep.
You know, like YouTube videos of like why this is gonna suck, blah blah blah. And,
Yeah, okay.
You know, so it's got that, and it's also got like
But-
the high expectations of,
Yeah,
of
the-
build up. It's
sure.
two things.
Yeah,
And-
but the opposite is also true. Like, yeah, I mean, hype makes people excited to play.
Yeah, but hype also can lead to disappointment,
Of course.
as we've seen with No Man's Sky,
Yes. Sure.
right?
Mhm.
So, so just dropping,
Mm.
no one has time to build up any expectations, good or negative, for
Mm-hmm.
them. They're just playing it.
That strategy really only works for a select few developers.
Oh
though.
yeah, I
Like,
was thinking that like
Blizzard
an
could do it.
indie game can't really do
Yeah,
that
no.
because like I mean indie games drop all the time on Steam that nobody's ever heard of.
Yes.
So.
Blizzard could pull it off.
Mm.
Yeah, obviously, like the Treyarch people. Not they're not Treyarch.
The Call
anymore.
of Duty guys.
Yeah, what are they called now?
Yeah, straight up.
No,
Infinity
the
Ward,
Infinity War. No, the ones that became the
Activision,
Apex,
EA.
Apex Legends guys.
Oh, respawn.
Respawn.
Ah.
Yes. Yeah. I'm still thinking
You're
like
thinking
of
Vincent
2011 when they were
Yeah.
Vince Sampanello or whatever was like
Yeah.
booted out of his office.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I like that guy, man. Everything I read about him.
I've never really looked into him very much. I just remember the big controversy when it happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people were
remember
locked out
covering
of their own office.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's good, man. It's polished.
That's good.
The landscape's really there's a lot of variation in there. There's a lot of vertical stuff. I guess the comparison everyone knows about this freaking game at this point, right?
Yeah, I think everyone's got a.
There's no building in it.
Yes, dude,
You're on with teams.
that sounds great.
It's just pure shooting
Yeah,
and sliding down mountains.
Class based,
because
right?
Class based. Yep.
Yeah.
More heroes on the way. Yeah, and it's good. It's quick. There's a lot of like you can spend money if you want. You don't need to spend money if you don't want.
I like it's free.
Yeah.
I mean that's a big deal.
And
know?
you know how you talked about Destiny last time, and that gun feel.
Yeah.
It
has
got that same good gun.
Nice.
Like yeah, it's really
I mean,
good.
those
to shoot
guys
stuff.
really know how to make a shooter, though. That's their thing.
Yeah.
So, makes sense.
I'm loving it, man. Like you drop in and you look around, and you can see other people like streaming with their different colors.
Yep.
Across the landscape. That's cool. Just like as a visual marker.
Mm-hmm. I've heard a lot about the pinging system.
That's really cool. The contextual pinging.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yep.
So good
you-
game.
Oh, dude, I won my first battle royale match
Wow.
last week.
Oh wait, as in like the very first one you played, you won, or
No.
for the first time ever,
the
you've
first
won a
battle royale thing I had won ever.
right.
You know, I think
How many
full of,
attempts?
what's that?
How many attempts?
Ooh, quite a few.
How many players per round? Is it like 60, something like that?
Yeah, 60 people, teams of 3.
Interesting.
Yeah, some people are really good at that game.
So are you playing it with people you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
That
I,
probably
I,
makes a big
I
difference.
loaded it up last night, and then it just like put me in a team with random people.
Yeah,
I
it'll
was
do
like,
that if you don't have a party.
Yeah, because I thought you could, because I'd heard it was teams of 3, but I just assumed that was also optional, that you could just go in on your
Oh,
own.
you want to actually go and buy yourself?
Yeah, I want to be a
You can be a lone wolf.
Han Solo guy.
You can do that.
Yeah?
You don't need to care about your team, but it means that team is screwed.
Oh right.
But
yeah,
you
yeah.
also
see.
as a guy-
I mean, that's the thing. I don't want to be the asshole on the team that's not playing by the team.
I think you can like just set your party to an invite only thing and then just rock in there.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, default is like
Yeah,
it'll put you in
yeah.
the party.
Okay,
Yeah, it's good stuff, man.
I should try it.
Did you play? You played Fortnite?
A little bit. I tried to, man. And
I
then
tried-
people started
Did you
building shit.
find the multitasking of building and shooting just too much?
Yeah.
Yeah, same. I felt like because I've been I think I've said this before on the podcast that I played it with some mates, and one of my mates like nephew who's like 15, and he was definitely the best person on the team. But I felt like such an old man who was just like, oh, why can't I just shoot people instead of
Yeah.
shoot and build? Like,
Yeah.
it was so much easier back in my day where we just had to shoot people.
Yeah, that's the only thing you killed people,
Yeah,
and there wasn't this whole meta about building.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was my. I downloaded it on the Switch.
Yep.
Because why not? It's
Fortnite,
free.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, I felt pretty much exactly the same. It was
Yeah.
like all of the building stuff felt like it got in the way.
Yeah.
Of what was otherwise pretty fun.
But when I saw like my mate's nephew play, he was just flying through it no problems. And then when I would get killed, it would like switch to following the person that killed me.
Yeah.
They're just playing it like there's no problem. So
Yeah.
I think it's just I don't know, man.
I'm sure with enough hours, I would
yeah,
get
well,
used to it.
if it's the only game you play, you're probably gonna get great at it. Like
yeah,
yeah, and these kids, these damn kids, that's the only game they
I
play.
don't care for it.
Yeah.
What about Blake? You played Anthem.
Oh yeah,
Demo.
so I played the Anthem demo, and it really just made me want to play Destiny.
Huh.
I played it for 2 hours, and then I went and played Destiny for probably like 4
Hmm.
right after.
So why? Why did it make you want to play?
it to me it felt like a third person. I mean, it felt like a third person MMO, in that like it didn't have that gun impact that I was talking about, that you were just talking
That
about, and I
feel?
was talking about in Destiny. That it didn't have that feel. It just felt like I was like pointing at a target and holding down the button until the health had disappeared. I didn't really feel like I was shooting anything real.
Right, it felt more like an MMO.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, it felt more like an MMO.
Yeah.
It felt more like a World of Warcraft style MMO, and yeah, and so there was that which really I didn't enjoy, and there was the other thing that I really didn't like was you start off in the sort of hub, and you've got like you talk to people and characters, and there's stuff happening. There's cutscenes and stuff, and it's all interesting, and you're like, oh, this is cool, some cool world building in the city. And then you go out and onto the mission, you select your mission, and then you're instantly put into a party with like 3 other people, and they're jumping around, they're dancing, they're like doing all this stuff, and they're off.
They're having fun.
I guess they're having fun. They're off, and it just felt like a dungeon run in World of Warcraft that I didn't know what I was doing, and if I strayed too far from the group, I got teleported to them, and it just felt like I was along for the ride. Yeah,
being carried, even though you didn't.
Yeah, it felt like I was being carried.
Yeah.
But I've since been told that you can turn that off. You can just go out solo.
Oh, sure, but that should not be the default. Like,
it
should not default to playing.
That's what
strangers.
really weirded me out, because it's not set up in any way. Like, I don't think it ever talks about a team. It's just like, get out there in your javelin, and you walk up to this thing, and there's only one javelin there. So when you leave, you think it's just going to be you out there, and then there's like 3 other people, and I don't know. Other people seem to really like it. So.
I've heard mixed things. So one thing I've heard criticisms of is the loot system as well.
I didn't play long enough to deal with the loot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I got loot, and I was like, it seemed fine. I was treating it like in Destiny, where you just pick the gun that has the bigger number.
Yeah. So that's basically what it sort of sounds like to me is.
And,
I mean, you compare it's not an action RPG style where it's like there's lots of different styles of gameplay necessarily. It's more like an MMO where you just get better tiers.
Yeah, and your javelin seems to be your javelin is the thing that determines your class. And I mean, in the demo, you only started off with one type of javelin, but then I saw a few people with like a couple of other types, so I guess they unlocked those. I don't know how the real game is going to be because I've not played it.
The flying looks good.
The flying is cool, but like, man, do you just crash into everything constantly?
Really?
Yeah, and I actually, what's interesting is that like, when I jumped, as soon as I was going through the menus, it felt like it was designed for a controller.
And you were playing on PC?
And I was playing on PC, and then I jumped into the game and started playing, and it just like flying around with a mouse just seemed impossible.
Interesting.
And so I switched out and put in a controller, and I had a way better time with the controller.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, like it's real weird because the thing is, like, third-person games I've always felt were better with a controller.
Okay.
But then when you're in the hub city, it's first person, so then it feels weird on a controller to me.
So it switches between first and third person depending on where you are?
Yeah, well, the hub world, you're in first person.
Why?
I don't know. Which is actually, maybe it's just to be the opposite of Destiny, because in Destiny, when you're in the hub world, it's in third person.
And it's first person when
and it's in first person everywhere else.
Interesting. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
That seems weird to me.
In Destiny, in the hub zone, that's when it mostly feels. That's when you really get a MMO feel, because it's in third person, I think, and you see everybody else jumping around and dancing and doing whatever.
I guess that it's interesting that they even have that switch between perspectives.
Yeah,
I guess
I actually don't know. I have no idea why.
I assume it's so that you have some investment in the appearance of your character.
Sure,
and like
I guess, but like
the effect that gear has on your appearance.
Yeah, but I mean, you see, in Destiny, right? You see your character in the menu, and when you do an emote, it switches out to third person, so you see your character then.
Right.
And you can't. Yeah, I don't know. It probably is just to look at your character and be like, look how cool my gear is.
I guess it's more interesting in a social area to see your character.
Yeah,
certainly.
yeah, I suppose it is.
So it's interesting to me that Anthem has done the opposite.
Yeah. I never realized it was the opposite until like just now.
What's
almost like it's intentional.
What's the point of going into first person in a social area, I wonder? That is very interesting to me.
I don't know what this is like in the main game, but it wasn't a social area.
Oh, okay.
It was just you. And that's why it felt weird going out into the real world when you're instantly put into a party.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Like I didn't see anybody else around.
Yeah.
And it can't be. I'm pretty sure it can't be because the space had been created in a way that didn't look like it facilitated like a lot of people.
Right.
You know how that MMO
lots
feel
of open
of like
space.
a lot of open space. Yeah, this was like small like alleyways
condensed.
and things like that. Yeah,
Mm.
stuff that like if you had, you know,
So
15 people in there, it would be crowded.
are there big social hub areas?
I guess in Anthem, it seems like you can actually just go into free play mode, which then
Right.
you're there on your own, or in a party that you've like set up,
Mm-hmm.
and you just fly around, and there's just like dungeons and things to do, and public events and stuff like that, and that feels very Destiny-like because that's just Destiny in itself. Is like you go to these areas and there's dungeons and public events and
Yeah.
there's quests and stuff like that. But it just like that's what when I was doing that, I felt like I was enjoying it way more. But because that was an optional thing,
Yeah.
and not you had to actively not do a mission
You're right.
to do it. It felt like
You're going off the beaten path.
yeah, it felt like kind of a waste of time.
Right. That's
But then
something-
again, like this was the demo, and now that the game's out, I could be completely wrong.
Right.
Like,
If you guys are playing Anthem, email us. Tell us
Yeah.
what you think.
yeah, but it made
questions@gmail.com.
what I played made me not want to get that game.
Mm.
Yeah, and then I went and played Destiny for like another 4 hours afterwards.
So you're still enjoying Destiny?
I've sort of taken a break from it. I got a bit burnt out on it.
Interesting.
Yeah, there was one quest in particular that I really just got burnt out on, where me and a buddy were like, we were just like slamming our face against this wall.
Uh-huh.
It
It does sound like a boring quest.
Yeah, it was a horrible quest. it had that feeling of
Headbutt
like
this wall 10,000 times.
that's kind of what it was, and we were just doing this like really tough quest over and over, and then when we finally did it, there was a bug at the end that didn't allow us to complete it,
Oh, wow.
and I was like,
That sucks.
and it was seriously like 1:30 in the morning
Ugh.
when this happened, and I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
So I've taken like a week break from it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's fair.
Yeah. But yeah. So that is my experience with Anthem.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Saveun.
Mm.
Ashen.
Yep.
It's quite a lot like Dark Souls, right? That's its whole thing.
I haven't played a Dark Souls game, but that's what I'm
Like-
told.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude, it's like a way more approachable and nicer Dark Souls.
Cool.
So,
Yeah.
so you've been playing it.
Yeah.
Satisfying?
It's good, man. I'm starting to get it.
Yeah.
Like what people say about these Dark Souls games.
Yeah.
So what is
What is it?
What is the it that you're getting?
The accomplishment that you get from beating things,
Right.
beating that boss.
It feels great, right? I love
Does
it.
feel good.
Yeah. I wish.
Especially when, dude, I must have fought that guy 15 times.
Oh shit.
And the first time in that first playthrough,
Yeah.
got through it.
Nice.
I was like, shit, this flask.
This
this
that's
magic
it.
flask.
That was it. Yeah. Man, that was. I can't believe you did that. The
You know what
first
was
time.
crazy?
That's insanely tough.
What was crazy was that first playthrough, after it, I was so down that I was like, maybe it's just impossible for me to do it. Maybe I've just got to like be really good at this game.
Yeah.
Mm,
Thinking that you had to verse it with 1 bar of health.
right.
So I got onto YouTube and I was like, all right, first boss fight. And people just went through it. They were sipping on this flask.
and you're
They
like,
were just
"What is
running around this place. I was like, what shit? That must be that flask that Blake's talking about.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do this mission. Everything's way clearer. I'm just running around like in the open, killing spare people. And I get that.
Why does that
quest-
sound kind of racist to me?
Spear people.
Oh.
There
You
are
don't like
people
those
throwing spears
roundies?
at you.
Spear.
Or spear people.
Yeah, there are these. I think they're women,
Killing the
Like,
natives.
Yeah, yeah.
witch-looking people.
Yeah.
They're throwing spears at you.
Okay.
The thing is, I did the first half of that quest, and it just made like a lot of sense when the guy was like, "Hey, I don't know, there's like a chest or something that you go out into the world and get for him."
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he just hands you a flask, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is that
Yeah.
thing."
Did you see he's got a bench where you can upgrade the flask?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Is it just the one flask that you just used the whole game?
I don't know.
Okay. So you
How
missed
far-
like a real important.
How far are you in the game?
So on the map, I think I'm in the last. Well, there's a sort of landmass, and then it seems like there's an island.
Mm.
I'm not at the island, but I'm pretty close to the end of the landmass.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It goes, like, the funny thing is, it goes fast.
Yeah.
Like, I remember getting into, like, the second area, and it was all, like, spooky and stuff, and I was like, oh, man, this is... And looking at the mapping, like, I've got so far to go.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I'm just, like, almost at the end of this continent. I'm like, oh, shit, I didn't even realize.
Wow.
Because it was just fun the whole time.
I'm starting to get missions outside of this first starting area.
Yep.
And I'm kind of holding off a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about getting back into streaming it when I can.
Yeah.
So what makes it more approachable than Dark Souls?
Let me think. I think, well, having the quests there at least give you direction.
Yeah.
And because Dark Souls
Dark Souls gives you
is
nothing,
kind of
right?
aimless.
Yeah.
And the first Dark Souls, I thought, that was in its favor. Because the level design in that first Dark Souls, everything was so intertwined that just wandering around, you end up, looping back around, and you sort of
You end
get
up where you
nice-
should be.
Yeah,
at
yeah.
that
It
time.
has a good way of like
Mm.
funneling you places, and if you find an area that's like things are wasting you too much, you're like, I'm not ready for that, and there's always somewhere else to go.
Right.
Whereas like I think Dark Souls 2 just felt like a really wide corridor.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
and 3 was sort of building on 1, where like things were interconnected, but it also had much more of a corridor feel as well. It wasn't this like giant. It wasn't just one giant world. It did feel like corridors, but within those corridors there were things looping around on themselves.
Okay. So it was sort of like
It was like a
there
blend.
was like a hub corridor with level.
Yeah, it was like a blend of them both, and that was like quite enjoyable because you still felt like you weren't aimlessly wandering.
Mm-hmm.
You were aimlessly wandering within the zones, but you weren't aimlessly wandering throughout the world.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but yeah, I think Ashen, like those quests like really give you a direction to go to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me, I spoke about it in the last episode, that witch cave.
Yeah.
Have you been through there?
I think I might have.
Yeah.
So
It's right at the start.
there's a couple of these witch caves.
Okay.
And the one I was thinking of is in, I think, the third zone,
Okay.
but I did find the one at the start,
Yeah.
and I
Is
think
that brutal for you? Because, dude, I'm dying every time.
I found that cave pretty late, so I just like ran through it.
Okay.
But
Damn.
the cave that I found in the third zone,
Yeah.
like I stumbled upon that like almost straight away, and yeah, it was
brutal?
It was brutal, yeah.
I'm getting one shot.
Yeah.
I killed the first thing.
Yeah.
Approached the second one, and then 2 like swarm you.
Wow.
It's dangerous. Those things are terrifying, and there's like actual dungeons that have these things in like tight corridors, and
Holy shit.
and like if you dodge too far, you'll fall to your death, kind of thing, and it's like it's pretty stressful, and like
See, that doesn't sound that fun to me.
well, you learn it. Like the thing with those ghost things is that they let you know they're there
Yeah.
before they attack you. The thing with Dark Souls is that things would just attack you and you
Yes.
die, and you're like,
You
well,
would,
that's
you
a
would
bummer.
walk out of a door and there would be 3 things hidden around
yeah.
the corner.
And Dark Souls 2 was especially bad for that.
Yeah.
But in Ashen, like this ghost thing that's like one-shotting you,
Yeah.
you see it and then it vanishes, right?
Yeah.
And then you go a little bit further and then you see it again and it attacks you.
Yeah.
So you sort of know.
And
how
it kind of does do a taunt before it actually charges you. Too.
Yeah.
Um,
The thing is, when I encounter those, you see them and then they disappear. And when you see them again, I just start rolling all over the place. I just start preemptively rolling.
Just start dodging.
Yeah, and then
immediately.
hopefully it'll hit the whoever the buddy is, and they just start mauling them, and I can just like smash its back.
Oh, so you've got allies?
Yeah. You always have an AI person, or sometimes they're a real person.
Oh, right. Yeah, you
Yeah.
did mention that.
Yeah.
Have you experienced a real person entering your game? Saveun?
no, I don't think so.
It's
How do you know?
It's hard to tell because like the only way I could tell was that the guy was like running ahead of me and like suddenly playing way better than the
AI.
AI used to.
Yeah.
And then I realized what was happening. But I've actually turned that off
Huh.
because the thing that
I like my AI stupid.
well, the thing that annoys you, the thing with the AI is that it'll stick to you.
Right.
But
if
this
it's another
guy just
player-
ran off
Mm.
and like started fighting an enemy, and I just watched him die, and then I just lost that character for a while,
All right.
and I was like,
Cool.
I don't trust these
Yeah.
players.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
It's really cool, man. The after that first boss fight, you walk up, like you're into this like water cave area.
Yeah.
You're standing on this ledge, and this woman, she summons like a god or some shit. In that
She summons
area.
God.
It's very
god.
cool.
But this guy's huge. Oh no,
Okay.
it's a chick.
Yeah.
And and like all this hair starts raveling out.
That's
Hands are like next to you, and you're just looking up at this thing. So it's really epic. That
good
sense
sense
of
of scale.
scale.
Did you
Yeah,
did,
it's
did, did
ridiculous.
you think it was cool that she had a face?
Yeah, she did.
She's the only
Skin
thing in the
pores and
world that
stuff
has
too.
a face.
Yeah, that's how you know they're a
Yeah.
god.
Yeah,
Mm.
they've got a face.
Wow.
Um,
What are you guys playing it on?
PC.
yeah, PC.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on that Epic store.
Yeah.
Is it on Steam as well?
Not yet. I don't think so. Because I had it on my wish list on Steam.
So how do you feel about this Steam and Epic Store?
I think it's
thing?
good.
I'm a big fan of competition.
Yeah, I
Yep.
like healthy competition is good. And
And
it seems like
the 80-20 revenue split, was it something like that? It was like
I don't know.
way better for developers
Mm.
on
Yes.
Epic.
yeah.
Well, it's yeah.
And I
That's
think
good.
I think what's good is that like you know how other publishers have tried their own thing, you know, Ubisoft
EA's
store and you got the
thing.
Origins thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're never like competitive really. They just feel like they're there to try to lock people into
It's their own thing.
their own thing. But
Yeah.
like the Epic Store, it feels like it's a proper competitor.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like they've gone out of their way to acquire
Mm.
third-party developers and interesting developers.
Yeah, yeah.
To give some variety and quality.
I like
Which
it.
is nice.
I like it. And like I saw just recently that since Apex is out, like Fortnite has like a free battle pass suddenly.
Oh yeah,
And
I
it's
got
like-
that email.
Yeah,
too.
and it's like this is great. I think this is great.
But also on the Epic store they have like free games. Subnautica's out for free right now.
Ooh,
I think.
Is it?
I've heard
I'm
really
gonna
good
get
things
that.
about Subnautica.
Yeah,
Carl,
and
Carl's
they
been talking about that. He's really been enjoying
Yeah,
it.
I might- All right, I might have to get the
I've been
Epic Store.
yeah. I've people have told me to play that game for like a couple of
Subnautica?
years. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to be picking up this Metro game, which is out on the Epic.
30
I think it's Exodus.
Exodus.
Oh
right.
yeah, that looked really cool.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
been
that-
getting some
yep.
really good reviews too.
Yep.
And
Did
so
you-
that's on the
Oh
Epic
man,
store.
did you hear about this the Steam bombing
Yeah.
of the Metro games? Because they did the deal with it was Epic, right? They're
Yeah.
on the Epic store. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like an exclusive thing.
Yep.
And then angry gamers are on Steam like downvoting all the Metro games.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Why?
Well, it's an outlet.
They don't want to install
People are angry
the Fortnite
and they have an
launcher.
outlet.
Okay,
And
so
they have a way of-
don't
they have a
don't
way
wanna
of,
get
like-
the Epic Store, so they vote a different game down.
Yeah. People
on Steam.
people do this. They do this. It's happened before
But
for
what does
other
that
things.
achieve for them?
Well, it makes them feel better
How?
because they've
It's not
because they've
Epic doesn't
had an
see these.
influence. They've had an influence
okay.
in the world.
Mm.
That's it, really.
That's so silly.
Like they're angry, and that is their only. They feel that that's their only way of I don't know getting back at someone,
Oh,
getting back
dear.
at the developer for
If you give people a like and dislike button, and you do something shitty,
yeah.
or perceived to be shitty,
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has happened before with other things. I know it's happened before. I can't remember exactly things.
It's as if like they didn't like the direction of a Marvel movie, and so they started downvoting a different Marvel movie on
Yeah.
Netflix.
Well,
It's
you,
like
you always
what
hear.
do you
Well, you
achieve
always
right
hear these. Yeah, I know, but you always hear these stories of like I don't know how much impact they really have, but like when DC has a bad movie, these stories come out and like, oh, it was all those Marvel fans that downvoted it on
wow.
like Rotten or something.
there? Right.
Probably not.
No.
I'm sure there were some like really weird hardcore fans, but I don't think it's going to affect.
A
anyone
similar
that
thing
much.
kind of happened with this Apex game, where some people were like really bummed that they didn't get a Titanfall 3 game,
Okay.
and
I mean, it's not like this is preventing a Titanfall 3 from ever happening.
sure, but people were like, yeah, did you play Titanfall 2? And they were like, No, but I was hoping to pick up 3. It was just like
Well,
these.
right.
It's just dumb internet
Yeah.
like rage culture.
Yeah.
It is.
It
You know
is
what
a
it reminds me of? It reminds me of when we get people who are like, I was gonna buy a supporter pack, but then you did this thing, and now I'm not gonna. And then
We got
Yeah, they weren't gonna buy it anyway.
It's like
probably.
they made this account 6 years ago and they've never paid.
Yeah.
we got so much of that when we announced for Xbox.
Yeah,
It was
I
just
remember.
like I couldn't believe it. It was amazing. And I think I've said this before, right? That the Path of Exile Reddit was aflame with that sort of thing. But then the Xbox Reddit was all like, "Oh man, I'm so stoked!
Yeah.
I'm getting this game on Xbox."
Yeah, and when we announced PlayStation, not a single murmur
Yeah.
about it being like,
I know.
oh, what are they doing? In fact, we've had a lot of people asking when it's coming out on PlayStation.
Well, a few people. Yeah.
I want to talk about a game I've been playing, which I forgot to mention.
Oh yeah.
Katamari Damacy. Did I mention that last time?
No,
I
you
don't remember. So came out years ago on PlayStation 2, and then it came out on Switch relatively recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I played We Heart Katamari. Have you guys played any Katamari games?
No.
It's so much fun. It's so satisfying.
It eats things, right?
Sort of.
I thought that was the
It's
thing.
like a big ball or something.
Yeah,
It's like
the way it works is you're a little dude, and you have a ball called a Katamari. I don't know why it's called a Katamari.
Hmm.
And the king of all cosmos, who is your dad,
Mhm.
destroyed all the stars and planets by accident. And so you have to roll up objects on Earth so he can turn it into a star.
Well, okay.
And it's real weird, but it's like delightfully weird. And they go out of their way to do like really weird stuff with. They've got these little
That
cutscenes.
premise. Sorry, I still don't get the premise. I don't get it.
It's
Can't
exactly.
cannot picture it.
He wants you to roll up objects on the surface of Earth
Yeah.
to then
Turn
make
it-
those objects into a star.
Yeah, he turns your Katamari into a star.
Not the planet Earth or anything.
No,
No.
just the Katamari.
Okay. That's
Um,
the objects on Earth.
And
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
another Katamari?
Huh?
Do you get another Katamari?
Yeah, every level you get a new Katamari.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
And first of all, you guys should just play this game because it's just a wonderful, fun game.
Hmm.
But they do some very interesting things with progression, and it's also an example of a game where controls are part of the content. So I would use as the extreme example QWOP.
Yep.
So in QWOP or whatever, you use the letters QWOP to move your character, and or Octodad is another one where it's like the difficulty of controlling is part of the gameplay. It's not necessarily difficult to control in Katamari, but it is an unusual control mechanism. You use only basically the left and the right sticks, and you think of it as your left hand and your right hand,
Mhm.
and you're pushing a ball.
Okay.
So when you push both of the sticks forward, you're pushing the ball forward. If you push only one of the sticks forward, you're kind of spinning yourself around the ball.
Mhm.
If you push them in opposite directions, you spin yourself around faster. It's just like a kind of a clever and interesting way of making this control scheme kind of odd, but also kind of intuitive. But it's just such a delightfully weird and satisfying game. I wish we had. It's something we actually lack a lot of. Is weird games.
You think so?
Yeah, weird in this sense anyway. Like Octodad is a weird game.
Mm.
What was the last weird game you have played? Then?
Katamari Damacy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Before that.
That's a good question. Probably that game I talked about ages ago. It was a mobile infinite runner where you are a head rolling around and
Oh my
and
God.
you have to get over pits by yelling.
I don't remember you talking about that. But that does sound pretty weird.
It's real weird, and in fact the heads come off of a tree. They grow as fruit.
Oh
and then
no,
they
I do
fall
remember
off.
this because that's a Chinese legend.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the tree
Oh.
with heads and yeah.
Okay.
But were the controls weird with that, or just the premise was weird?
Just the premise was
Okay.
weird. Katamari is so freaking weird, but so much fun. You guys absolutely should play it. It's the way they like start you off. So the very first level, you start off as a like 5 centimeter tall ball,
Mhm.
and you're rolling up like paper clips and dice and
Right.
and caramels and eventually you get to the size where you can roll up living mice, and it's such an achievement because You roll it over and you hear it squeal.
Oh, wow.
And it's twitching around in your ball, and you're like, yes.
Oh, wait, you can see it in the ball.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
It's part of what makes it so fun. But the first time you roll up a human being,
Oh, my God.
you never forget your first human.
Wow.
Is like gravity an issue? Going up hills?
Yes, it
Cool.
is. And like
Water?
also the smoothness of your ball is an issue. So like if
cool.
you're rolling up these objects and you're in accumulation, it kind of makes your ball round. But sometimes you'll roll up like a fishing rod or something, and it's just really long compared to everything else.
Yeah.
That's sticking out of one side of your ball, and so when you roll over that side, your ball gets flung into the air,
Oh,
Awesome.
wow.
and so it like doesn't necessarily pick up anything underneath. And so managing the angle of your ball and what you're picking up, and
So you're choosing what you pick up?
yes,
You're not just like, pick up everything in this level.
I mean, ideally you're picking up everything,
Yeah.
but the size of the object, you can't pick up objects of a certain size or weight until you're big enough. And so you're managing what you are picking up against what is like remaining and your pathing. And because you've got a time limit, you kind of you learn the optimal paths of like, okay, I'm going to go this way because I know there's a bunch of shrubs over here that I can pick up at this size, and then I'll
Yep.
go back over this way and pick up a bunch of warning signs, and then I'll go back this way and pick up hats.
Jesus.
And then I'll
What?
pick up this family that's swimming in the pool.
Oh, my God. What's the biggest thing you can pick up?
In Katamari Damacy, which is the first one, you get to the point where you're picking up skyscrapers and islands and stuff.
Whoa.
I think I was picking up clouds and stuff. Does that count? I picked up a lightning god.
A what?
A lightning god.
Well, like a Thor.
No.
Did you say lightning god?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
he's
not
talking about
Thor.
Yeah. Like,
No, different to Thor.
What?
It's different to Thor, but it is a lightning god.
okay.
It's a Japanese lightning god.
Oh, okay.
So it's got these like 5 circles around him. I don't know.
Does water smooth out your ball?
No,
No.
Can you
No.
pick up water?
no.
Ah,
You can't pick up water, but you can pick up like fish and jellyfish,
Yep.
and boats and people
Oh
in
my
boats,
God,
and
weird. This is weird.
whales, giant squid.
Yeah.
You can pick up superheroes fighting. You
that's cool.
it's real weird, but I love it so much.
How long do you think you'll play this one?
I mean, I beat it.
Oh,
It's not very long,
Yeah.
but it's so satisfying, and also it's really cheap. If you've got a Switch, it's like $30 or something like that, or maybe even less.
$30. You can get Ashen for $30.
Can you really?
On the Epic Store, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well,
Great. You should give Ashen a go.
yeah, I
mean-
might.
Yeah, that Epic Store.
Yeah.
It,
That would be cool because you've never played Dark Souls either, right?
I played a little bit of Demon Souls at a friend's house when
Okay,
it first
yeah.
came
And
out, and then I
you're-
played a little bit of Dark Souls.
And you're always giving me shit about Dark Souls, so
Yeah.
I'd like to see your.
Well, the reason I'm giving you shit about Dark Souls is because they've got a lot of dumb stuff in there.
I don't know what you're talking about.
How do you get to that? How do you get back to the asylum?
It's an Easter egg. You,
It's-
you become an egg.
Uh huh.
Yeah. It's
Right.
great.
Okay.
It's like a reward for crouching for 7 minutes or something.
God.
Well,
You're
you'll
right,
be
that's
happy
totally
that
sensible.
you'll be
What-
happy that I haven't found anything like that in Ashen.
It does actually make me happy.
Yeah, Ashen is. Yeah, Ashen is a way more guided. Like I was saying, way more guided.
The
and more of a traditional game, I guess, in that way.
I mean, look, I get the amusement from games like Dark Souls, where like you walk through a doorway and out of nowhere you get crushed because. there's a
Yeah,
guy
see,
hiding
I
there.
always thought that was Dark Souls at its worst.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's amusing the first time it happens, and then
It
fact
just
that-
becomes frustrating.
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
to like be paranoid around every doorway, and that doesn't seem fun to me.
Yeah, and
It's like, did you ever play like I think I may have talked about this before, Kaito Mario, or like these like ROM hacks of Mario games, or I Want to Be the Guy. Have you heard of I Want to Be the Guy?
No, I've heard of I Want to Be the Guy though.
I Want to Be the Guy is like an ultra hardcore platformer of the vein of Kaito Mario, where you basically you're running along and without realizing it, you stepped on an invisible switch which causes spikes to appear on the ground and you die. Or you're running under a tree that's got apples on it, and 2 of the apples will fall if you get too close and crush you, and the other one will fly up as you try and jump over the tree or something. And so it just screws you no matter what you do.
Yeah.
And the whole point of that game is like, you repeat the same level over and over again, learning all the stupid hazards that there's no signaling for.
Yeah.
And that's what Dark Souls is
Well,
to me.
It is, but I think that there's not a lot of that.
What about mimics?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, but the thing is, like, mimics, there's a tell.
Is there?
The mimic chest is different. There's a chain, like, in Dark Souls 1,
Yeah.
the chain that keeps the chest on the ground, like, there's just a chain that is connected to the ground. A mimic, that chain is in a different pattern. So, once you realize that, because the alternative is to just hit every chest.
Okay.
Right? But you can actually tell. Like, you go into a room and you see 3 chests.
Yeah.
And you're like, this looks suspicious. I bet one of these is a mimic.
Yeah.
You look at the chains. One will be, like, slightly different.
Why
and
are
you're
there
like,
chains on the ground?
I don't know. It's Dark Souls.
We don't want anybody taking the chest. The contents inside, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
But this chest is very valuable.
Yeah. But,
Let's just
Dark
put it right
Souls
here
is at
next to this monster.
yeah. But Dark Souls is at its best when it's, like giving you, like, signals.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the thing.
When-
I see fights where it's like there's lots of cool tells and beautiful animations, and it's all about like sort of circling and watching and predicting and going in for the kill when you can. But then like that's the boss fights. But in between the boss fights, it's a lot of like I'm running down a thin path and I get pushed off the side and I die.
You gotta play Dark Souls 3. It's much more polished, and like all the stuff you're talking about, all these things that you hate, where you walk into a room and there's just like 10 guys behind the door. Like that was stuff that was like all over Dark Souls 2, and I hated it, and I didn't get very far into Dark Souls 2.
Okay.
But Dark Souls 1, like sometimes there was something like that, but like it was never, although occasionally it was never like you never like didn't see it coming.
Except for when you did.
Except for sometimes you did. There was one place actually the worst I think in Dark Souls 1 was these slimes that cling to the roof, and the way you find out about them, because you don't look up much and it's a dark like sewer, is that a slime will just land on you and like munch your face. And if you don't have enough life, it'll just kill you. So it's just a one shot.
That's the other thing. I see a lot of stuff in Dark Souls where it's like a boss picks you up and hits you against the ground like 4 times in a row, and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, I know.
Just die.
You just got to dodge.
No, but why?
Get out of the way.
Why?
Don't
why,
let it hit you.
Why the 4-hit animation?
I don't know.
It's a grapple.
But
it's just an attack.
You know you've died. You now have to sit through 15 seconds of watching you die.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating.
Yeah, it can be. I seriously think Dark Souls 3 is like the best polished version of that.
It's interesting because isn't that the worst reviewed of all of the Dark Souls?
I thought 2 was.
I think 3 might be.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter.
I
how does Ashen
really
compare?
I really liked 3.
What?
How does
Ashen compare?
Yeah. Like would it Blake, you've played both.
I honestly I think it's easier. Like that's basically what.
Not difficulty. I'm talking like enjoyment.
I actually like Ashen a lot more. It's for me it feels like less stressful. It feels fairer. It feels way more fair than any Dark Souls. Dark Souls always feels like it's really trying to kill you, but it'll at least give you a hint that it's about to kill you, even if that hint is like a split second. But Ashen, I think like I can't even that like witch, right? That'll instantly kill you. It still gives you heaps of time to see it. And
dude, whenever I die to it, it's like I did something wrong.
Okay, that's great.
It's definitely like at my fault.
Right. Well, that's exactly what I want. I want to feel like I can do better as opposed to I just have to know that there's people there now.
I also beat this huge crab. This huge like hermit crab.
Like a giant enemy crab?
It's not that big.
Okay. But where was its weak spot?
Oh, the shell.
Its face.
Its body.
Okay.
It was guarding a feather, and I had to get this feather.
Was that in the cave?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like on the other side of it.
Yeah.
But that was a big deal, man.
What do you
Because
do
I
with the
didn't even
feather?
know about this freaking crab.
What's the feather for?
Oh,
It'll give you like stat increases.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
It boosts either your stamina or your health, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're a bird?
I don't know what's the deal. They're phoenix feathers, right? Because isn't the law like there was like a phoenix or something?
Yeah,
that-
something's rising, man. I think there's,
yeah,
Something's right.
something's rising.
something's changing.
Yeah.
The tide
Something's
the
given
sun?
light to the world.
Yeah,
is
'Cause I think-
bread.
No, I think that's a thing. Like, there's some giant bird that's called an Ashen or something. That
That
Yeah, something
makes
like that.
sense, actually.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
and it goes through these
Well, if
cycles
it's-
of
if
like
it's
life
cheap,
and death. And
Heck yeah, I'll pick it up.
Dude. Yeah, that Epic Store. That's probably one of the cool things about the Epic Store.
Prices.
Yeah. yeah. But also
Alright.
free stuff.
Ooh, I do love free stuff.
And they've got that engine. You know, you can pick up that engine for free.
The
The Unreal Engine.
I mean, you can do that anyway.
Yeah, but you need that launcher.
Well, yeah, you pick up that Unreal Engine and you get the store for free.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And then
perfect.
it's
Got
like
a free
Minecraft,
store.
but you could make entire video games
Ooh.
out of it.
I mean, people have also done that in Minecraft.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're bound to these squares.
That's
you know,
true.
You're limited.
People have made some insane stuff in Minecraft.
Yeah.
Like I saw someone like just recreate. I think it was like Mario 1. Like, and you're playing it like
Yeah.
like each block is a pixel and it's like scrolling across this thing and
Yeah.
you're controlling a
pretty cool.
character.
Yeah.
okay.
There's been some pretty nuts creations
Uh,
using redstone.
Yeah, and
Quite
what's
cool.
crazy is like this video, like this guy showed how it all worked.
Yeah.
and it's just like it's like a city
Yeah.
of just stuff.
Logic gates.
Yeah. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is. It's really impressive. The stuff I mean, it's because they functionally put basic coding language in that game. You know, it was interesting. Well, back before I started working full time as a games journalist, I was freelancing as a games journalist, and one of the first articles I did was cool user generated content from video games, and I think this was before Minecraft was a thing, but like I remember Little Big Planet had
Oh yeah.
had one of the most comprehensive level creation tools,
Mhm.
and some French mailman made a functioning calculator
Cool.
inside Little Big Planet, and I thought that was the coolest thing because he shows how he shows himself doing basic calculations, and then he shows how it's made, and so he flies up, and it is just this enormous tower of wires and like ropes and cogs, and I was
Pretty
like
great.
very impressed. It's very cool. Yeah, I love seeing what enterprising people can do within a game engine. It's very cool. We've got only a few minutes left.
There's a great email,
Which one?
the top one.
The top one? All right, I'll read it out. Hey guys, I'm a big fan since the almost beginning, episode 3 or 4, and really love your podcast. Thanks for uploading it on YouTube, where I listen to most of my podcasts. Although I failed to convince any of my friends to listen to you yet. Boo. Get new friends. I recently managed to start my own podcast, totally inspired by yours. Oh, thanks. The main difference being that we are 3 game designers. Well, I already like it more than ours, because
You got to get some artists in there
Yeah.
you're good.
to balance out the opinions. You know.
Yep.
You're good. I'm 2 years out of game design school and could not really find a job right after, so I spent 2 years and counting making my own game, mostly alone, to use in my portfolio. That's a good move. My question is, when looking at game design applications, what is the most valuable non-studio experience? And then he goes on to say, to use me as an example, on one hand, I participated in many game jams where I made small, unfinished games. And on the other hand, I am making a way bigger, polished game. Knowing that in the first case, I did mostly game design and team coordination, where on the other, I spend way more of my time coding and drawing. Which experience is the most valuable to a studio? Thanks a lot. Thank you a lot for inspiring me, and have a very fun year in 2019. Thanks. This isn't signed by anybody.
Nope, that's fine. They said not to use their real name, so
Okay.
I just removed
Well,
it.
thank you. I'm going to call you Stuart.
All
Thanks,
right.
Stuart.
Damn, you guessed his real name. He said not to say it.
Stuart Peanut Butter.
Oh, what? How did you know?
So I mean, I don't. Have either of you been in a hiring position?
A little bit.
I think we've probably seen applications at the very least.
Yeah.
I obviously it depends on what position you're applying for. If you're applying as a game designer, the best thing to show off is games that you've made. And and giving us the capacity to try them out.
How did you land it? How did you become a game designer at Graniger?
That is a good
Can
question.
you write a favorable review for us, and then
Oh,
5 years
yeah.
later,
Yeah. That's how
I
it works.
remember.
Yeah. I wrote a preview, and
Yeah.
then obviously that was enough to get me no. I had heard that they. I mean, I had a friend who, he wasn't really a friend. He was just someone on my Facebook who he was a producer on Mountain Blade, and we had the same birthday, and so I would
And
occasionally.
you friended this guy.
No, he friended me.
Oh,
Um,
because of that?
because I had reviewed one of the Mountain Blade games,
Ah.
and then we chatted a little bit, and I asked him if he knew of any jobs going around. He suggested I tried talking to GGG, and I was like, oh heck yeah, I remember really liking the game when I saw it. So I just sent him an email, and said I wanted to see if they had any game design positions open. They did, and they sent me a design test. But also in my resume, I had cited games that I'd worked on. So I had worked on a bad mobile game and some.
Always good to have things that you'd worked on previously.
like you've been a bad mobile game.
Yes. Well, it was a game I had designed.
I've worked on those.
Yeah. I mean, the game itself was fine. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
But it was fine. And I'd worked on some like social, on some like corporate ad game type things at the ad agency I worked at.
Yes, I remember you talking about you did this display in Melbourne for Wolverine.
Yeah, I didn't work on that at all, but yeah, that was a thing that our company did.
I remember you saying, because I was in Melbourne and saw that.
Yeah.
And you were saying that because it looked like it was motion.
Yeah, it was meant to look like Kinect.
Like you
you put on these foam claws and you fought ninjas.
Yeah.
And but what was actually happening was there was a guy in a room watching you and tapping the ninjas that you quote unquote attacked.
Yeah.
And just killing them. So
Pretty
there was no
great.
And you were that guy?
No, I wasn't that guy. However,
we were
I
like,
was.
you were the guy. We gotta hire this guy.
I did while I was working there. I worked at the Xbox booth, at like a Australian games convention where we had like a sort of scavenger hunt thing at the booth.
Okay.
And so I helped people out with that. But yeah, no, I think like really having games in your portfolio that whoever you're applying to can try if you're going for a game design position. But also I think most places probably have design tests to test your knowledge of the type of game that they are developing or the position that you're going for, and also your design sensibilities and whatever key skills they need. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Just like having a good portfolio of work that you've done, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the same is true for art as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
probably
if
for
you've
coding.
worked on games, that's already a huge thing. Like even if they're crappy mobile games, it's like you've still got experience making an actual game.
Yeah. And having like a big polished game is obviously very impressive, especially if you've worked on it alone. But I don't even think it necessarily needs to be big and polished. I think most studios understand that when you're working alone, resources and time constraints mean that you might not spend as much time on art or bug test fixing and whatever it is. And as long as you can show that the like game design mechanics are sound and the gameplay loop is fun, I think that's probably enough.
There was also this other thing I heard from Richard Taylor, the guy who owns Weta, and he was saying that he kind of looks for people that are just really interested and motivated and like genuinely into that thing.
Yeah.
And you can show that off by just showing them projects you have worked on.
Yeah.
And just trying to convey that, this is something you want to do, you're passionate about.
Exactly. If you're working on your game, by yourself, it means you're working without being paid, and that that obviously shows passion and drive and motivation, and that's huge. Yeah. So I think right now you're probably doing exactly what you should be doing. So it's just now at this point, if you're looking to get a job at a studio, just sending out applications, and like any other job, it is to some degree a numbers game. You just got to send out a lot of applications. There's going to be some percentage of people who don't reply. There's going to be some percentage of people who ask for an interview and you don't get it.
And like I think when you're in that situation, you should just also always be doing something. Always have a project going.
Yeah.
I think because that's what I did. I was like, sending out applications, but then I'm just like working on my own stuff.
Yeah.
At the same time, not just sitting around being like, oh, woe is me. Why don't I have a job and I'm not actively doing anything?
Yeah. Also understanding that the video games industry moves a lot, and that you better be like your technical ability better be up to snuff. Especially as a designer, it's if you can design a certain thing but also implement it.
Yep.
That's
That's huge.
Yeah, a huge resource for that company.
Yeah.
There's also video game designers have also been hired based on like board games that they've created.
It really is making games. It doesn't matter what kind of game, really,
Yeah.
as long as you can show that you know how to make a sound game, like with that your systems are clever and make sense and work well together, and that there's at least some semblance of balance, and if rules are clear, that's important as well. Like your communication skills are very important, especially as a game designer. You're probably going to be talking to a lot of different people.
Yeah.
And so making sure that you know how to talk to different people, how to communicate what you want effectively, it's very important.
Podcasts are good for that, for brushing up on talking to people.
Yep.
Talking about things around people.
Yeah,
Yep.
and talking about that, like networking, like you go to, meetups or
Yep.
whatever. Like I was going to, the game dev meetups like all the time when I was looking for work, and
I mean, it sounds like this person's
doing the right things.
Yeah, going to game jams, which is a great networking place.
Yeah.
But I also like exactly what you guys were saying. There are often like game development communities that have like weekly or monthly drinks and meetups or whatever, and going to those, not just going to like the development stuff, but going to the social stuff. And talking to people and showing off your game. It's all getting feedback as well. If you have experience getting and responding to feedback, that's huge, because that's what you're going to be doing a lot of in a studio. Is you're gonna work on something and someone's going to tell you it's wrong, and you're going to have to change it. And so having practice in handling that is very important. I think that's probably it. You guys got any more advice?
No, man, he sounds like he's on the right track.
Yeah, it does.
I think the last time we had a question. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I just mean Stuart Peanut Butter. Sounds like he's on the right track.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I like your name.
Yeah.
Stewie P.
That's different. All right. Well, we're probably out of time at this point. We are. So if you've got questions, that was a great question. Thank you, Stuart Peanut Butter. You can email us at frontseatquestions@gmail.com. You can also tweet at us at frontseatcast. Facebook.com/frontseatcast is our Facebook page. Frontseatgamer.wordpress.com is our WordPress site. We've got comments on there. Sometimes we reply to them. Often it's my dad who comments on there.
How often is it your dad?
Quite often. YouTube.com/frontseatcast. We've got over 700 subscribers.
Whoa.
Are you one of them? Twitch.tv/frontseatcast is where Saveun sometimes streams stuff.
Yep.
When was the last time you streamed?
Jeez.
Was it that Ashen?
I don't know, but I'll get back into it at some point.
Cool. I want to get into
I'm on
it.
the recovery tip. Because I've been recovering from a dumb injury.
Oh right, yeah.
So I'll be getting back on it soon.
I'm gonna have to find out about that after the podcast.
I think we talked about it.
At the start of the last podcast.
Yeah, which I didn't add because it was too gross. But I added your thing instead at
Right.
the end because that was just gross enough.
Even grosser thing. By the way, very sorry about that. I don't have any say in what Blake puts at the front or end. Often, in fact, I say, don't use that, and then he uses it.
You do have a lot of say because 9 times out of 10 it's you.
It's your say.
Saying
But
it.
I don't. Anyway, we're on Spotify and iTunes and all the other stuff. Rate us. Tell your friends. We love hearing. Even when your friends haven't listened, we love hearing that you've told your friends about it. And we love you for listening. And we'll be back in a couple weeks. Bye-bye.
The fucking headline's crazy. Blizzard record profits 800.
Yeah.
No. record revenue.
Record revenue. Okay.
Very different.
What's the difference?
Revenue is total amount of incoming money,
Not profit.
not profit.
Okay.
So then you have to weigh that against the costs,
Yep.
and I don't know what their costs are. But
So
I still
if they
think it's
say
fucked.
record revenue, does that mean that they lost money, but they don't, or the profit was very
it just
small?
means that the profit margin could be thinner. Yeah, it could be it could be a tax
Yeah.
thing. It could be.
Say that and be like, we're not paying taxes this year.
Yeah.
Because of, like, this is revenue.
Yeah. But they're so.
We actually only made two.
It is. Now here's the thing.
Shit.
It sounds scummy to lay off all these people. But my understanding of the people they laid off were in the publishing departments and like esports and all these things that are like
There was
secondary to game development.
community people.
Which and it sucks to lose your job, but like also that's how you run a company is when there are things that are unprofitable or are not necessary. You don't just keep them around because
Yeah. Well, I
you-
think
you like
people
the
had
people.
the problem that, like, it's a bummer to lose your job.
yeah.
But I think the thing that really felt like it was rubbing salt in people's wounds is them saying we had a record year.
Yeah. But like
Because without that,
but
it
that's
would
still
just be, it
even
would
so
just
that's
be
still how you run
bummer.
a company.
Yeah,
if,
but
if
without-
GGG has a record year, but we're not going to be putting out like I don't know if suddenly we were a single player game or whatever, we wouldn't keep our network guys
Sure.
around, you know.
Yeah, but it just it seems insulting to the people that lost their jobs to say, "Hey, we're doing so great."
Yes,
You
absolutely.
know, I think
Yeah,
that
it's-
is what
it's
people had a
bad.
problem with. If
think
they
the term is
hadn't
optics.
said that, and people just lost their job, well, that's just a bummer.
Yeah.
You know, but that is just business, which
You think the company's going to continue to grow, and these departments grow also because of I don't know, decisions made years ago?
Yes, but what if your current set of decisions they have no role there, you know? They're not, what if they're not making any more competitive games or you know, whatever.
That sounds crazy. That kind of shit. In relation to Blizzard.
But that's I mean, they said they're not releasing any games in 2019.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Fuck well.
did they?
They said no new game releases.
They'll
in
probably
2019.
announce stuff though.
There will be
announcing
Hearthstone
stuff for them
expansions.
is almost like a release.
Yeah, they'll probably announce Diablo, but there's and they'll I don't think there's a new World of Warcraft coming. There's no new StarCraft.
You're
There's
telling
no,
me Diablo Mobile's not coming this year? Fuck. God
Darn it.
damn it.
So do you want to talk? Do you want to start the podcast?
Sure.
Yep.
But one last thing about that.
Yeah.
Like, at least I didn't see.
We could talk about this on the podcast.
Oh, sure, we could. But
Or we could even like put it at the start or at the end.
yeah, maybe we could. I don't know. I mean, we kind of talked it out. Like, I don't know.
What do you have? Like,
Yeah, say your thing.
I was just gonna say, like, at least it sounds like people were paid their due.
Yeah, I've heard that
They weren't like, you know, how what was that other company? Telltale.
Mm,
Like,
people weren't
let
getting
people
paid and
go
then they
with,
let them
like,
go.
yeah, no severance, no anything.
fine shakers.
Yeah, yeah. I think you had that confusion before. So what's Double Fine doing these days?
They re-released Grim Fandango on the Switch.